are live.
I am Linda Deir, and this guy right here
is Ray Holly, the wizard behind the curtain.
Now you're going to bring up Zoom on this side, right, Ray? So I can see it here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tonight is about higher learning. This is about using the guided journal writing system, which once again consists of guided, my truth story, my guided journey, which is your story, and my journal writing. So this is the guided journal writing system, the three of these together. And as Ray and I work with you on this, and you learn how this system works together, you will begin to make a solid connection to your spirit guides and have access to them all the time. That's the purpose in this guided journal writing system. Today, we're working in part 2, chapter 7 of my guided journey. And this is going to be about higher learning. Higher learning. Think about what higher learning is, okay? People think about higher learning. How, Ray? How do they think about that?
Going to college.
In the traditional world, in the world that you're in right here, in this world. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Because you're conditioned. You're conditioned when you're going through elementary school and high school that, well, if you want to get a good job, you need to go to college, go to university, get a 4-year degree.
Right.
Or some kids didn't have the money to go to college.
And higher learning.
Yeah. Their parents couldn't send them to college. And there wasn't a big student loan program in those days. So they joined a unionized occupational skill.
Right.
And they could make good money.
On the job training type thing.
They could make enough money to support a family, buy a house, take vacations, that thing.
Right.
Just like somebody who got a 4-year degree.
Right. Ray, are we having a little trouble on that?
Oh, when I had my back turned, Bill Gates took our computer over.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's done shortly.
Okay, because we need to see who's on with us.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so we can't see who's on with us right now unless we go over to this computer.
Well, then you can't see that.
Then that'll be all right. Why don't you go ahead and, okay, you don't want to do that. All right. So we can't see who's on with us right now.
It'll be a couple minutes.
A few minutes, we should be able to see that. So in the meantime, we're going to lead up to what this higher learning is all about, using the guided journal writing system. And we're talking about two worlds. We're talking about being in just this world as opposed to the world that you came from, where you came in with your spirit guides and angels, okay, your spirit family, where you, when you were small, really little, when you were still connected to them and to yourself. Higher learning for you was following your curiosity. It was being inspired and just following that curiosity. And what you learned was not what somebody told you to learn. It wasn't what somebody told you to think or remember. Like in school, they teach you how to, they have you read something, they have you remember it, and whoever can read it and remember it the best to pass that test gets the high score. It makes them think that that's higher learning, and that's not higher learning. That's more like everybody learning the same thing, and instructional learning, something structured where you have to learn your ABCs, you have to learn math, and you do have to know those things in this world. You have to learn how to spell and speak, okay? You have to learn basic stuff. You do have to know how to do that to function in this world. But you guys, it's not higher learning. Now, when you go to the university, okay, you're out of high school, you go to the university, and they say that that is higher learning. Is it? Or is it? How come doctors, here's one, how come doctors go to school for 8 years and they don't even know anything about nutrition? How do they get out of school when they're in the health business and know nothing about nutrition? That doesn't make sense.
Maybe they're not in the health business.
What are
Maybe
they
they're
in?
in the managing your disease business.
That's what they're taught by the system that the system is structured and set up for. But if you ask me, that's not higher learning. In fact, all of them at one point have gone, something's not right here. I mean, I see what I need to know, and I need to know biology, and I need to know chemistry, and I need to know all these things. But that's just the bare bones, okay? That's not really higher learning. I mean, some people are better at academics and just pounding through it and remembering things and how they go together, okay, than other people. But I got to tell you that that's not higher learning. Higher learning is learning. That's where you self-realize. That's where you understand it from a soul level. That's where you make a connection that encompasses everything, okay? It would be like it being in this world and being in the world you came from, being connected. It'd be like the doctor learning about chemistry, biology, and everything he's got to learn about, and nutrition. But they don't. So how does that work when they don't have a wholeness in what they do? Higher learning is everything. Higher learning encompasses both sides, okay? It's learning here, and it's incorporating it in this world and bringing it together and coming up with your own formula, your own method, yours, okay? What's unique that you've discovered in all that. Now that is something that Einstein would even say is brilliant. That curiosity that brings on the higher learning, that produces new things in the world, not just the same old, churning out the same old stuff, people and the way they do things and think and are bound by and boxed in with. And that's all you get, and that's all you can do, because after all, if you step outside those lines, you're open to litigation and lawsuits. You're subject to scrutiny. Oh, you stepped outside the box. How come you did that, Dr. So-and-so?
We're going to jerk your license.
Yeah, and now in fact, your license becomes your noose, okay?
Right.
And it becomes I know I've been licensed, in many ways licensed. And every time I was licensed, all I ever heard about was how litigious my life became because
of that license.
Because I was licensed and I had something that people could threaten me with. Now let's go back to higher learning. What's that got to do with higher learning? Do you see how far out of bounds this whole thing has gotten with regard to what higher learning really is?
Okay, so these people who were in charge of higher learning when I was young,
yeah,
and they still think like that today, actually thought that this college experience would help the students find a passion. Like there were so many passions there on the curriculum to choose from.
Pick a passion.
Oh, pick a passion. There you go.
If you don't show up with one, you're probably, yeah.
You're going to have to pick your major. Okay? Or maybe they'll get interested in something.
Maybe
Maybe
they'll bump into themselves.
What that's turned
That's
into.
a little late.
Yeah. When they're in their early 20s, they're just starting to realize who they are. And then the student
Or
loan.
who they're not.
The student loan thing kicked in, and that was a grave reality to students. I mean, a grave reality in the sense that you're still paying on it when you go to your grave sometimes. Your family can't get out of some of those.
Yeah, that's a big trap. I mean, unless you know the difference between higher learning, and you've been learning that all along, and you know yourself and what your passions are. This over here, this thing they call higher learning in the academics, isn't going to save you. Okay? It's not higher learning. It's forced learning. It's paying for learning, hoping that you'll be good enough, actually learn it and be good enough, and maybe get hired.
And you actually like it enough and be able to earn enough money at it to pay back your student loan.
Now that is the dilemma, that you actually like what you have learned and you're passionate about it. How many people experience that when they just live in this world? And they're seeking out higher, what's referred to as higher learning in just this world, only to be under pressure from every front. I mean, school loans, and then get a job and go to work for a company that doesn't have very good values, and they hit what's called reality is what happens if they do get employed. And then they find out all the litigation that goes on, and everything that you've learned is like watered down. Oh, don't do this and don't do that, because you open the company up to litigation. There's all these lawsuits going on. There's all these traps going on. And then all of a sudden the markets change, and your job and your skills are obsolete. Sorry about that, So you really have to, this higher learning, you come in with it. And it begins really, really early. To define what you learned and what that was, those moments of inspiration, those times when your curiosity consumed you. We're working in part 7 today, chapter 7 of part 2. It's called, We Always Showed You New Things. There was no separation between you and us in my guided journey. This is when the higher learning was really strong. You were all in. Unlike those around you, you did not spend any time overthinking things. That's what goes on in this world, all right? That's because you were too busy experimenting with them. That's what Bill Gates did. That's what Steve Jobs did. That's what
Michael Dell
did. They all dropped out of college because they were too busy experimenting with what they were passionate about performing on,
right.
And they didn't have time to go to college. They dropped out, did these things in their garages, and look what happened. Okay, when you have a passion like that, you don't want to force yourself into a hole, a round peg in a square hole. Just because over here they've convinced you so strongly that they've got higher learning that you have got to have, or you're never going to get anywhere. They didn't worry about that, and you know what? Neither did she.
I mean, this whole old model, what I grew up with, of higher learning. I mean, I was in the grocery store a few days ago, and the lady ahead of me at the service counter, she was talking about her brother. Now, she was probably in her 70s, talking about her brother. He's in his early 60s. He's a doctor. He's a chiropractor. He's still paying $1,500 a month on his student loan, and he's ready to retire, and he can't retire. And her granddaughter is a doctor and owes $450,000 on her student loans.
How old is she?
She's in her 40s. This doctor, and the only way she can get out of that is she got a job somewhere back east, a job offer that said, if you come and work for our hospital chain for 10 years, we'll pay off your student loan.
So now, whether she likes living there or not, or likes the facility or not, or the people or not, she's a hostage. I mean, she's got no choice but to do that, just to get out from underneath that.
How can you be passionate about what you're doing if you have that kind of a burden over your head?
It's terrible.
All your life.
It's terrible. It's terrible. So this is, they've convinced people in this world that you've got to have this higher learning education at the expense of putting you in a lifetime of debt. Whoa. I never even thought about that. When I started coming up and I was 19 years old and all this landed in my lap, I mean, literally, the guidance guided me that way. All I had to do, you guys, was move on that, go that way. I was already passionate about it. I didn't have to make myself go that way. It was easy for me to go that way, This is what you can't be frozen. I can't tell you how many kids I've seen, and Ray and I've seen. They're getting ready to graduate high school, and their parents are terrified for them. They're concerned. They're really concerned that if they don't go to college, that they don't stand a chance in this world. There's so much fear around this thing. referred to and making claims that it's higher learning, you guys. And really what it is it's remembering a lot of stuff that you hope you can get employed for and you actually like to do, and the company that you work for you will actually like, and the boss you have. There's a lot of what ifs in that. Okay, I got to say that when I ventured out on my own, I didn't count on anybody. Nobody. I just went out there, did my own thing, found myself doing it, got the support I needed when I happened to need it. I showed up at the right time and the right people were there and they helped me along, and I, before you knew it, I was well on my way. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta stop you right there.
Okay.
How do you explain higher learning in the context of when you were 19, you were able to do all of these very technical things, architecture, building, design, all of those highly technical things without one bit of education?
I came in with it. I came in with the drawing murals on the living room walls at 2 years old. I couldn't even stop myself. I was driven to do it. All right. I really upset my mom about that, but I couldn't. It was like something I couldn't control. That is your calling. Okay. That is how your higher learning will go down. And then when I got in kindergarten, I played with the building blocks every day, and I bribed the kids and I did everything. So I got those building blocks because I needed them. Okay. What drove me to do that? I gave my lunch away. I gave them money. I gave them toys. I did whatever it took. They were real easy to manipulate, I guess, and to buy off.
Candy, that does it all the time. Get it for you when you were 20 months old.
So that's what I mean. You guys, whatever that was when you were young, really young, and you had to do it, write that down in part 3 of the journal and start making notes about what this is. Go back to, was it art and you couldn't stop yourself? Was it athletics? Was it chemistry? Chemistry was a big one for me too. I loved chemistry. I always had to have a project to do. I mean, I built a little car when I was a kid. A car I rode in, but put my brother in and drove him around in it and pulled it with my mini bike. I mean, I was a builder. I've always been a builder, the core of me. I was a home builder, an architect. Now I build websites and I author books. By the way, builders are natural authors. Architects are natural authors. I never knew that, but it all goes hand in hand. You'll find out that you're good at more than one thing when you find that one thing.
Okay. So you come in with this innate possibility, unlimited possibilities of things you can do. And your guides,
skills and talents and gifts.
And skills and gifts and passions. And your guides never teach you anything, but they do put things in front of you, your path.
Right.
They say, what about this?
Free will. You have the free will.
Okay, now here's my question. Get into a question. Oh, do your guides know when they present you with multiple things? You could be an architect, Linda. You could be a lawyer. You might be a good lawyer. You always said you'd be a good lawyer.
I would have been.
Lawyer.
Defending the underdog.
There you go.
That's the fighter in me in school, beating up the bullies. There it is. Okay.
So, architect, designer, could have been a good lawyer. You ran a business, a successful business with the ISP. You became a real estate broker, and now you're an author. So you had all these things put in front of you, and you followed them, and you were good at all of them. Here's the question. Do your guides know that you would have been good at all of them?
Yes, absolutely.
No matter which one you pick?
Yes, because there's a core in every one of those things, okay, that you can do. There's something you're really good at, and from that stems off all these possibilities. You can do it this way, you can do it that way, you can do it this way, you can do it that way, you can do it this way. You can do all these different things, and all of them if you want to. I didn't just stay in real estate. I did all this other stuff, technology, and then publishing, writing my story, writing these books. about guidance and how this works. But the core point here, my natural nature is I'm a builder from my core. I know how to build projects. I know how to, I'm a business person. That's where Ray was saying attorney. I have got a really sharp business mind. I think that way, okay? And I can see through things, and I can see where something might be a great idea, but it's got too many pitfalls in it, too many things that would come up that would present problems and challenges that maybe you wouldn't want to have to deal with. So you just thin them down, you reduce them down, you write down what that is in part 3, and then you start to explore it, okay, before you dive in.
Okay, let me tell you who's here today.
Yeah.
Heather McNeed, Kimberly Williams, Veronica, Joy.
Great.
Kimberly, Veronica, Joy. Okay, so there's 5 of us.
Okay.
No questions yet, but a lot of them said, yeah, you know, they try to get you to take all these classes so you're well-rounded. You know, not really. You shouldn't be well-rounded. You should be an expert in your field.
Here's an example.
You hire the well-rounded people.
When I was 19, yes, wherever you're deficient and you need something, hire the experts. You don't need to go out and spend 4 years getting educated to do that one thing. Forget that, okay? Just do what you're really good at and do it well, okay? So you've got the funding to support that expertise when you need to bring it in, period, all right? That's always what I've done, always. I don't know this one thing, stop me from going all in on what I wanted to do. I found those people along the way. I'm going to hire you for this. I'm going to hire you for that. I need this done in a certain amount of time. Can you do it? Yeah. Okay, let's do this, you know. And sometimes, you know, they worked out pretty well. Everybody really did work out pretty well. No problem. I didn't have to be all those experts. I just had to be really good at what I did.
And you had to love it.
Oh, and
I
did. I've loved everything I've done.
You can't just get a degree to be educated, because that is.
You know, what I see with education with a lot of people, they go and they get into college and they start, you know, going to college. It does 2 things. Well, some people actually pull it off, but it does 2 things. It gives them a place to kind of hang while they're thinking it over, while they're trying to figure out what they want to be for the rest of their life. Because they've been forced into it, you guys. They don't know what they want to be, but could they tell their parents that? Or their counselors that? I don't know what I want. You know, a lot of kids don't know what they want. They don't.
That gets back to the thing that the people who run the colleges and the faculty would say, maybe you'll find your passion. You know, maybe you'll find your major. Well, try this major first.
$80,000 later.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna switch majors now. I don't want to be this. I
want
to be that.
And then when they do that, they switch majors because they realize that what they're going to college for, what their major is, they don't want to do it.
Right.
They don't like it. But now, how are they going to tell their parents that?
Exactly. You know, I have a perfect example of this when I lived in Texas, in Austin. I had on my mantle in my living room, I had this old antique clock from like the 20s, and it was a mantle clock, beautiful, but it broke. We moved it, it broke. Anyhow, couldn't find anybody to fix it. Finally, I looked in the Yellow Pages, and I found this guy, one guy in the whole city of Austin, who fixed these old style mantle clocks, that particular brand. He came out. I said, "How'd you get into this?" He said, "Well, actually, I was at a garage sale. I like to go to garage sales, and I found one. This is when I was in college. I found one, and took it back, and I fixed it. And I thought it was pretty cool. And I started looking for other ones. Every weekend, I go out looking for broken clocks to fix. And I said, "Well, what were you in college for?" He says, "I was in law school." He said, "My father was a lawyer. My grandfather's a lawyer. My 3 brothers and my sister are all lawyers. So I was expected to be a lawyer."
Expected.
And when I told them that I wanted to drop out of law school to fix clocks, I was like ostracized from the family. Now he's the #1 person in the country. People send him clocks from all over the world.
And see, the thing is with this guy, money wasn't his thing. but this thing that he loved doing, that drew him in, that he just had a connection to, he followed it. It's not always about the money, you guys. I'll tell you, when I first started my career, I didn't have any idea at all about what I wanted or that I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. It presented itself to me. I looked at it as it was placed on my path. And of course, the guides, they wouldn't place something on your path that's not a fit and isn't perfectly timed. What's perfect for you at the time. And I saw it. It was like, okay, that feels right to me. And I like it. I would love to do that. Okay. And before you knew it, that's what I was doing. Did it make any sense? I mean, I was doing things that I look back on it, and that's been the story of my life. I go into it, I'm in it, I'm doing whatever it is. And then I look back in hindsight, like a year from now or 2 years or a month from now. That's why I say, write this stuff down. You can't see it the moment you're doing it or it's happening. All right. Then I look back and I just go, oh my God, I never would have thought that up for myself. I never would have thought it. And if I had run it by anybody, they would have said, Linda, you don't have the education to do that. You can't do that. It's a good thing I just never said anything. I just found myself, in the sandbox, doing it already and moving through it really quickly. I mean, if you're doing what you love to do, you will move through the early part of it pretty quickly. And then all of a sudden you'll lift your head one day and go, oh, I made it. It's a crazy thing. But if you don't have the passion to begin with, if you don't have it and you keep questioning, like in our event on Saturday, Mary, one of the girls that attended, she's going to college and taking coding
classes for medical industry,
medical coding, but she's being pulled to go to art, to go into her art, to the arts, while she's doing this thing in coding. So she knows this is not her passion. Okay, she's already doing it. She can make a living at it. She's now aware that this is not a passion. This is
a job.
This is a job. Okay, she's got this real clear. I'm going to do this for the money. Okay, so I can just do this a certain amount of time, the amount of time I need to do it to support myself, so I can pursue my passion.
People say, well, it's not about the money. Well, when you're locked into a 4-year or 6-year college program, it is about the money, because now you owe $200,000 or more from school loans.
We know so many people that have left the country, and they even if they could have been really good at it, the thought of the weight of the debt that they took on destroyed them.
Right.
They were frozen from it. They felt like a hostage from it. So higher learning, you guys, what higher learning has turned into in this world, at least in America, has become a sentence.
Right.
It's terrible.
Look how many doctors, when we lived up in Sedona, look how many doctors we knew left the country.
They did.
Because they were tired of getting sued.
Yes.
They went to countries where they were appreciated and
not scrutinized.
Right. Not judged for what kind of car they drove or how much
money. And
they
could actually help people.
Right.
What they said is, in this country, I could only spend 3 minutes with the client, or the patient, because the system, the medical system, the insurance companies wouldn't let them do it. Had a grip on them. They said when they go to these other countries, they can sit them down, actually understand what's going on with their patient, and not be pressured by that, and actually help the person.
And not get sued.
Right. So this is see, when I see this kind of stuff, and I look at higher education never went anywhere. It's always been there, you guys. If only we listen when it comes through, and then it's your choice. You have free will to act on that or not. Okay, but at the very least, write it down. You may say, well, I can't do that right now, but when I look back at it in a week from now or a month from now, you know what? Maybe I can. You look back at that and go, if you hadn't written it down, if you hadn't told yourself how that felt when you wrote it down, what you realized, and what intention you could imagine taking, if you hadn't done that, you'd have nothing to refer back to. You'd have nothing to pull from, because that is higher information about higher learning, what you're learning. I didn't learn this in one entry. I learned it by continuing to write down what was coming to me, what was unusual, okay? What was out of the ordinary that was coming through. I knew it wasn't coming from this world. I knew that. I knew it wasn't coming from me. It was coming through me from guidance. Go ahead.
Okay, here's a perfect example. Kimberly says she always wanted to be an artist. She just didn't know it. Now, she's got this BA degree. It was like photography, isn't it? I can't go back and change it. So now I have this debt, but I can't rewind. So what do I do now? What do you do now? What do you do now?
What do you do now, Kimberly? Everybody's situation is different. Okay, yes.
Kimberly, you have been given permission to do what you love and become very successful at it. So why are you worrying about a student loan? You don't make enough money.
Okay, here's what they're saying to you, translation. Stop doubting yourself.
Right.
Okay, and I have to say this, your photography degree, whatever you got it in, Kimberly, it's going to show up.
Right.
It's going to bleed through in some way, in some beautiful way that you can't see right now. It's going to blend in to what it is that you love to do as you're doing your art and your drawing. Okay, it's going to show up somehow. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be just this, the way you're doing it now. It's going to be a combination of something, right?
Yeah, it's all right. So you come here when you arrive as a new person in this world. You come with all the education you're going to need, right?
You come in with all the gifts and talents. That's what it means.
Right.
See, the guides don't explain it as education. Okay,
there you go.
They explain it as the gifts and talents you came in with. Let me say this. You have lived many lifetimes, So do you think you didn't bring those gifts and talents from all those lifetimes with you? You guys have been around the block, all right? That's where true higher learning is derived from. Not from one lifetime where you have to go to college and get in debt like everybody else does. I mean, everyone else does that, right? That's nonsense. You have it. See, what happened when you were small is this world dominated this part of you and just frightened you away. You guys, it has to come back. You got to bring it back. And the way you're going to do it is you're going to use your journal. Part 3, you're going to keep writing down what you're realizing, what you're remembering, what's showing up in your life, guidance, putting it on your path that you're being presented with. Write it down. This is how you're going to find it, all right? What else?
So who else has joined us? Let's see. Kathy joined us, and anime. Anime Kathy. So
great.
Let's go back to this. You don't bring your education with you, but you bring your talents
And your gifts.
and your urges and
Yes.
what you're pulled toward.
Your compass.
And many, many lives. So you've developed these talents and gifts over many, many lives.
Yes.
That's the only way you could explain a 4-year-old that walks up to a piano and sits down and plays beautiful classical piano, note for note, never had a lesson, and he's 4 years old.
Right.
Okay. So now, I always wondered about that. Now, you're not a child prodigy. You're an average student in school, an average student. You're a B student, okay? The world's probably run by C students. That's what they like to say. It's run by C students. But you get a general education, and then you get an arts degree or a general education business degree or a finance degree, and you never do anything with it. I saw something not too long ago that said like 87% of the people who get a college degree within 5 years after they get out of college aren't even using that degree or anything they learn studying that degree.
Well, and here's another point to that. With things moving so quickly, technology taking over everything, just expanding and developing so fast, what you learned in college by the time you graduate is obsolete.
Yeah.
That's true.
Computer technology leapfrogs every about 9 months. Every 9 months.
It's obsolete. And eventually, this with AI and everything, it will just, robotics and innovation and everything that's automated, AI and all, it's gonna take over, okay? Now, the good side to that is it gives the humans their lives back. They're no longer having to fill the slavery jobs that the robots and the artificial intelligence and everything else that can handle all that can manage, all right? I don't know, there's probably some downsides to it.
I can see a downside.
Some sci-fi talks about all that.
I see a big downside to it. Here's all the people who bought into the higher education scheme.
Yep, higher learning.
Higher learning scheme and got
Scam.
out. Yeah, it sounds like scam, doesn't it? Scheme and scam, interchangeable. And they got out and they couldn't find a job except for one of these menial jobs. And so they could pay back their student loan. They got a menial minimum wage job.
They'll never pay it back.
Well, yeah, and then here comes a robot, takes your job.
Thank God.
Well, now there's two burdens,
No, they're not.
They can't pay their loan.
Something's gonna happen with all this because guess what? It's gonna come to the surface. It's gonna be revealed that this was a setup, and it is. It's not for everybody. Not that going, to the universities and everything doesn't work for everybody. It does work for some people. It doesn't work for most people.
You've told me several times that when you were, a teenager, early 20s, that if you would have went to college, you would have went to Cal Poly and got an engineering degree, right?
Right. Well, yeah.
Why didn't you do that?
Because it wasn't feasible. I had a kid. I didn't have the money.
You were running companies and making a lot of money.
And we were already in the construction business, running a framing company, and I was starting my own business, architecture and home building. I didn't have time to go to college.
You take your kid to school,
I didn't have time for that. I was already making 6 digits a year. Okay. Did I plan that? No, I didn't plan that. Did I do it for the money? No, I never did anything in my life for the money. I did it because I loved it. All right. I did it because I was pulled by that urge to have to go do it and try it and experience it. Okay.
And did you know ahead of time you would be good at it or not?
I didn't think about it.
I
honestly never thought about it. I didn't feel insecure. I didn't doubt myself. I didn't think I couldn't do it. I didn't think about being a failure. Now, my husband's thought about the failure part of it. They had that all worked out. But I was like, I don't want to hear about that because I don't care if I fail right in my tracks. I got to see this through. I got to try it. It was like when I was a little kid in school and I had to have those building blocks and I came with, every bribe you can imagine to control those every morning in kindergarten. Okay. to have them. And so it was that same drive that followed me throughout my life, that I didn't worry about, what if it doesn't work?
Oh,
It never occurred to me. I thought, well, if it doesn't work, I didn't even think about it, you guys.
that'd be like you in kindergarten. You build something with the blocks and it falls over.
That didn't stop me.
That didn't stop you from building it
That's
again tomorrow,
right.
right?
So this is the whole point. Higher learning from its true and most inner sense that you are born with, because you have learned a lot. And here you are in this one single lifetime, ready to experience that. You're more capable than you think. It's just the people in this world convinced you otherwise. That's why. How do you gang up on this and overcome it? You write down the things that you're noticing now, and you start keeping it in chronological order in part 3, so you can begin to see, who is this person, Joy? Who's Joy? Oh, Joy. Wow. This came through, and oh, that came through. And, I always knew this one. I always felt this one. Joy will tell herself. And pretty soon, you guys, you'll have the recipe for your life. And that's what you move on. And I don't care what everybody else is doing or what they think or say. That's why I never told anybody about the things I was going to do. I just did them. By the time they noticed anything, I was already, I had already mastered it. So they couldn't stop me. They couldn't get in my way, and they couldn't try to derail me. Okay.
All right. Kimberly said she really liked the answer the guys gave her. Great message. And Veronica said that was a great message for you, Kimberly. Kimberly said it put a smile on her face. Great to know that what I learned is now obsolete. LOL.
I know.
All right. Kimberly says, so having a relationship with our guides is how we are able to receive our higher education. At least I feel like I have received one.
And your higher education, it comes out of you.
Right.
It's laying dormant inside of each one of you, ready for you guys to notice it. And your guides never forgot why you came into this life and what you came here to accomplish. They just keep on presenting you with opportunities that you sit back and look at and go, well, you have the free will, you see. Well, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try that. But I'd really like to see you guys do something like, oh, I want to do that so much. I can't wait to do that. Now, when you have that kind of passion, look out, world, look out. Okay. And I think Kimberly has that. Kimberly, take those school loans and don't even think about them. Just do what your heart draws you toward, and be defiant about letting this world crash that party.
Yeah.
Okay, don't let it happen. None of you let that happen.
Okay.
We're here to live our lives with passion and connection.
And along with passion, most of the time has to come patience.
Yeah, well, if you don't have, and I can't tell you how many coaching sessions we do when the guides come through and consult with the client. They tell them, the person's doubting what they're doing, or am I going the right way and stuff. The guides always say, if you don't feel this amazing, what I'm expressing to you, this explosive passion, where what I learned, and I know, especially I know when I keep it a secret, and I'm careful not to let anybody know what I'm going to do. I know how important it is to me. I lived my whole life doing that. I didn't even publish my book, write it and publish, until I was 62 years old. That's how careful I've been about protecting my passions, so nobody could derail me, try to convince me I wasn't okay, I wasn't good enough, I didn't have enough, I wasn't, supposed to do that. I never gave them a chance at me. I had to do it. Okay, so I notice when I really want to do something, I don't tell anybody. No way. I just do it.
Did you know ahead of time that your first book would win an international book award?
Right? I didn't know. I the guides told me. They told me
They
all
did.
that, but I was like, oh. And when they told me that, I was like, oh. It surprised me when I woke up from my sleep. I literally sat up like somebody, in a dead sleep. Boom! All of a sudden, I was sitting up going, oh my God, that was massive dream. Um, and 20 years later, guided shows up on the scene. All right, the components hadn't all shown up yet. It was building, and now it's showtime. And Ray and I are moving on this thing. It's kicking butt.
Another
It's
thing,
timing. And you get in there and you do it. And you know what? They rigged me up with the right partner. That's him. That's right. So even if they see that you're going to need help pulling the wagon, they'll send in the right person. You've got everything you need at the minute you need it. It's amazing, you guys.
okay, so for everybody out there that sees this and they have kids or they have grandkids that are getting out of high school and thinking about, well, what am I going to be when I grow up?
If your kid doesn't have like a feeling like what I'm throwing at you, or child or grandchild or whatever, if they don't feel passionate about what they're doing, tell them to go get a menial job for a year. Don't waste the money on this college
Experience.
experience. That's what Ray did. Ray sent his son to college, and he went to NAU or ASU, and he went to
Famous party school.
but he went to the Cary
Cary
Business.
School of Business School. Yeah, Cary School of Business.
And the last 2 years of college, he was there for 4 years, was nothing but one screaming party. He learned to be
Had the college experience.
I know, and it was what his mom wanted for him. A college experience, a drunken stupor is what it turned out to
He
be.
majored in beer pong.
It's terrible. I mean, and I don't know. I don't know.
But and now he's working in a field that has nothing to do with his 4-year degree.
He didn't even need it.
Didn't even need it.
But he had a college experience, and he got out without the college debt because mom and dad paid for it, which makes it worse.
Right.
Now they can just ride for free. Okay, that's a real bad start in terms of feeling entitled and stuff like that. This whole thing going on in this world, it really needs to be looked at. And I think really what happens is the kids start getting hit with this pressure from the time they're in kindergarten, not like what we went through, you guys, not near as much. And they're just slammed. I mean, they need a break. They need to be caught early on so they can stop. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Maybe it's just their karmic ride. They came in to be pressured like this to see if they could find themselves underneath all that pressure.
And
That was their karmic choice.
that's about the time, 18 or 19 years old. We've talked about this before, when they have probably the most energy they're ever going to have in their life. Okay? And how they channel that energy determines what they'll be successful at. Now, if let's say a boy or a girl, doesn't really matter, and they want to be an artist, they want to be a musician, but they also have an interest in the sciences and also a doctor in the medical field. Where they direct that energy at 19 years old, they'd be good at any one of those. It's just where they direct it to. They'd be a good plumber. They'd be a good doctor. They'd be a good musician.
Only if they were guided to go that way. Only if they felt not pressured to go that way,
Right.
but guided to go that way. Do I feel it? Do I feel it? If you don't feel it, if the kid doesn't feel it, leave him alone for a year.
Right.
Let him heal. If that's what's going on, let that kid heal from all the pressure that's been put on him for 18 years, so they can maybe figure it out. Okay, what would you like to do? Do you want to be an animal groomer? Just to fool around? Do you want to be a pet walker? I mean, whatever. Yeah,
I just saw a story last
find
week.
yourself.
This lady just retired. For the last 20 some years, she started out. She was walking every day in the park, and she saw this girl walking a bunch of dogs. She said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm a dog walker." And she got interested in that, and she worked for that person. Then she went out and started her own business. Then she had 30 people working for her, and she just retired a multimillionaire walking dogs.
You know what I always said I would do? Another thing I said I would do
Train dogs.
is train. I'm really good with animals,
Yeah.
really good with them. To train animals to be assistant animals.
Right.
But then I said to Ray, I said, the only problem is anybody that it was time to give them to, to hand them off to, it wouldn't be good enough for the dog I just trained.
Yeah.
I'd have such an emotional investment in that animal. Anyway, I love animals and, so anyway, Ray, do we have any more questions here?
No, I don't think so.
This is really good.
Great one.
Okay, we're going to get right into the fun tonight, you guys. We know why you're here. Saturday was awesome. Our live event in Phoenix was really, really good. In fact, get this. See how guidance works, and I love it. I love it. We have the next one lined up for October the 5th, and that one is called Experience the Proven Spirit Guide Communication System with Linda Deir. All right, and guess who emails or messages me on Facebook yesterday? Somebody wants to do an interview with me. It's the third time they're going to be doing an interview with me. They love doing interviews with me. I guess because I'm so wild and crazy. I love this.
Yeah, a lot of energy on there.
Yeah, and now they're doing it on Zoom, so they're going, "We want Linda." She's like, "Wow,"
Our last guest made everybody fall asleep.
So I said, "Yeah," I said to Ray, I said, "So Ray, what do you think I should suggest talking about?" He goes, "Linda, the event in October." And I'm going, "Oh my God, yes," And so it's like so obvious, right? The guys lay it down. And here we are. There's going to be how many people watching this? It's going to be streamed live on Facebook, on blog, on
Blog Talk Radio.
on Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Contact Talk Radio, where you can contact the radio and talk all day.
I think Joy said Ray has a great radio voice, and he does. So they're gonna have Todd and I, like I'm on this side and Todd's over here, right?
Yeah, he has over 10 or 20,000 regular followers, and then he turns it into his podcast, and it goes to several podcast platforms. Probably close to 1 million people around
that are going to see it. That's awesome. Okay, so here Ray and I, we do a pretty good job on bringing attention to what we're doing, so people know, if you want to register, get in there. A lot of people came in to register for this event after it started, and they got shut out. They waited too long.
Once it starts, you can't get in.
You can't get in. So you have to register before it starts to get in. Okay, we had 62 people that signed up for this. For the live stream.
Right. From all over the world.
Yeah, so we're probably going to have a lot more people hitting it this time for October. So for any of you that want to join in to the live stream, do it ahead of time, because there's only going to be 100 seats available on live stream. All right.
Right.
So what my point is, here we are we're moving on the marketing. We're just getting moving on it. Boom, we get that interview. That's going to bring attention to it. And Todd goes, "Linda, you talk about what you want to talk about." I'm like, yeah, you see how this works, you guys? I love this, okay? It's happening, it's there, it's exciting. And don't ever think about the what ifs, and don't think about, what if this doesn't work and that doesn't work? What if? No, it's all going to work. Get out of its way. Let it show up. Let it pour in, okay? It's right there waiting for you to be ready. How many times have I said that? All right. So here's all the people that came right here.
Okay.
And we're going to let the spirit guides pick the winner. And the winner is going to be of the live stream. Whoever came on the live stream, one winner for a half-hour angel coaching session with Linda, me.
Free.
For free. All right.
That's $110 value.
We're going to do it over Zoom, so you get the video. It's going to be, the whole thing. So you get the whole thing. Okay, you guys. David. Okay. Do we have anybody else saying anything before we start?
Nope. They can't.
You're waiting.
Okay, they can do the drum roll out there.
Okay.
Drum roll.
And here they go. Gonna pick the winner.
The winner of the free coaching session lives in the Netherlands.
Ooh.
The winner is R-E-B Rebecca Andrews.
Oh. Rebecca Andrews.
We had a lot of people from the Netherlands.
We did.
That's 6.
We had people from New Zealand, Australia, where else, Ray?
UK, Germany, Canada,
Oh,
Spain.
all over the U.S. Okay, yeah. So, congratulations to Rebecca.
Rebecca, she's
Right?
sleeping right now.
So circle that, Ray. Circle that. You guys, we're going to do the same thing next month. We're going to, for the live stream, we're going to offer the same thing. A free half-hour coaching session with me, $110 value. We're going to offer the same thing for the online streaming. So one other thing that we're going to be doing, we're getting busy with this other stuff, and I'm going to be doing intermittent videos throughout the week, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, talking about reading from guided and getting people, that don't get what guided is because they haven't read it or listened to it yet. Just explaining and working with, just making some
short lessons
from guided that I'm going to do. And I'm going to be doing that instead of Wednesdays. And I'll tell you why. We've been getting the reviews from the people who participated on Wednesday and the people who viewed it or live stream, and they said it is hands down so easy to comprehend using the journal. When they see me in a live, action-packed session, they said, we get it. They see us sit with the people and experiences. They really needed that live interaction with Ray and I and the people in the audience. Okay, they needed to see it that way. Since that's the case, we're doing these once a month for right now, these live events, using the guided journal writing system. Okay, probably going to move into a couple times a month. It's probably going to go that way because so far the demand is good. So we move with that, all right?
Guidance.
And we don't get that many people showing up on Wednesdays. So I'm going, guidance, it's showing us. Linda and Ray, Wednesdays was a good beginning. But the live events is what they want.
Right.
So that's what we're giving them. And then throughout the week, I'm going to do those little readings, okay? And
It'd be like 2-3 minute lessons.
Right. And Ray and I worked through it with the guides, and this is the way they want to do it. So we're going to move it that way. So we're always adjusting a little bit. Tuesdays are solid, the guide said.
Same thing.
Keep Tuesdays just like it is. Do not change Tuesdays. Leave it alone. All right. Okay.
Linda's weekly guided insight.
That's solid. Okay. So we're just taking the guided journal writing system And we're doing it, I'd say we're spreading it out more. And it's more action-packed. That's what people, that's the way they're learning this the best.
Right.
So that's where we're going with it, all right?
Okay.
So next Wednesday, we won't be here. We're not doing them on Wednesdays. We're doing them on every Tuesdays and every other Thursday on Ask the Universal Channel, the secret group with you guys. Yes, we do those, okay? And you guys do your lessons every week, which we always watch.
Hopefully, we're going to have a lot of new members to the ATUC group from people who come to the live on location sessions and people who watch over the live stream.
Yeah, because they're really, it's juicy. They really connect with it. So that's how we're changing things out a little bit, all right? What do we have, Ray?
Everybody says congratulations, Rebecca Andrews. Well, when she wakes up, she's going to see that.
Yeah, she's asleep, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, you guys, she's an awesome lady, and her husband, and Ray and I've worked with them for a few years, and
They just actually moved to the Netherlands about a year ago.
they're amazing. Those people know how to follow their guidance.
Yeah, when they were in college, they were told in a dream or something, you should move to Australia. So they picked up and quit their jobs and moved to Australia, and were there.
Before they had their kids.
Right, and they had businesses there, and then they were told to come back to the U.S. and do that.
I know, these guys are
And then they
awesome.
were told to move to the Netherlands, and there they are. And
You are all awesome.
everybody's
Okay?
guided all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
You just got to keep the antenna. So should we do it? The guides have that?
Let's do a closing message from the guides after everything we've talked about what they've guided us to change and rearrange and stuff like that. Here they go.
Whether or not you have a college degree or several or none, here is an important question. Why are you doing what you are doing? We want you to analyze what you do for a career. Look at all the things that you do in the job and write them down. Next, look at the list and circle the ones that you do well. Everything you do in your life that you do well, especially on your job. Make a second list and write down what you love to do. Everything you love to do on list number 2. Next, set those lists side by side and see where they match. Highlight everything that you love to do and you are also good at it. That's what you should be doing.
You know, in my case, I have to tell you that when I first started my life and my guides came through and, you know, moved me through it, and I mean, I moved myself through it, but they showed me, I didn't know if I'd be good at it. I knew I loved it, but I didn't, because I was younger, okay? But I didn't know I'd be good at it. So people who have grandkids or kids, that you find out what they love to do, but they don't know if they'd be good at it, they need to try it. They need to get in there and follow what they love to do And they might be, like I said earlier, they might be a really good artist, okay? But they don't have any business sense. That would turn them into what, Ray?
A starving artist. On the other hand, you have people who went to college and they got an accounting degree, and they're an accountant, and they hate it.
I know.
If they're good at it, but they hate it.
But they hate it. Okay. So what they have to do is match up. If you really love what this is, if you don't have what it takes to learn how to bring it into this world, there's this creative part. That's where you came from, your gifts and talents, and bring it into this world and anchor it here. That's the secret. This is why I keep telling you guys, bring these together, make the connection, and you can't miss. Okay? Yep. So, you can give them some counseling there. You can help them with that. And if you can't do it, we can help you with that, right?
Guides can help you with that.
The guides can help you with that.
They're always available 24/7.
But the kids, I can understand how the kids feel off because they've been so pressured by this world, But again, I don't feel bad for them because you know what? It's a perfect design. They came into this lifetime at exactly the time they came in to face all this. Okay, they'd had many lifetimes too, and they were willing to face all this to capture the benefits of being here at this time. So they're perfectly aligned. There's nothing, they're not at a disadvantage. If they don't get totally pulled in and strangled by this life, nah, that's not what they're supposed to be learning, you guys. So anyway, you wise women, you know what to do.
Okay.
We will see you guys on Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Exciting stuff coming up.
What's our topic for Tuesday?
Well, they know. I told them last night.
Oh, that's right.
Are you expecting me to remember? Ray Hawley.
We're always a couple of weeks ahead. So
we are, man. We've got a lot going on. So you guys, it's always great to have you. And we're going to be doing Wednesdays differently. We're going to be doing them on location once a month where you can watch us live. And I'm going to be sporadically through the week showing up. Lessons and little learnings. And
we won't be live on location on Wednesdays, on Saturdays.
On Saturdays.
Saturdays. They're all on Saturdays.
They're all on Saturdays. And we're starting out at once a month. Next one is October 5th. But we'll be announcing it pretty soon. And then next Tuesday is when I'm doing that interview with Todd at 10 a.m. Pacific time on, what's it called, Ray?
Blog Talk Radio.
No, it's not. It's Contact
Talk Radio. Welcome to Contact Talk Radio.
What would we do without Ray? The funny guy.
Okay, everybody. Good night.
Good night, you guys.
Be kind.
Great having you.